welcome back. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about how to create some really nice texture in a really simple way for the top of your bride or bridesmaid's hair. So this gal, we have already sectioned out the front of her hair, so I'm going to take these out now. And I've already actually created the back of this updo. So we have a low updo ready to go, and what I want is to have some wavy texture that I can pin into this and look really lovely. So what I'm going to do first is go through, I'm going to use some texturizing powder to get into her roots because I want to have some texture to go back, some lift, and I don't want to see any holes in it. I want to be able to not see her scalp or anything. So some texture is going to really help. Texture spray is going to really help those curls stay. It's going to help you give some lift on top and have a more natural, like tousled sort of look. So today I'm going to use Puff Me, which I really like. I bought it this year for the first time and it's been a great product. And I'm going to go through and just get it through the roots. So this one just sprays. It's really easy. And I'm going to go through and just kind of spray throughout the whole front of her hair. And I'm going to be careful not to get it right in the front so you don't actually see any of the powder. But I want to make sure to get it in all the places where I want lift. So that's going to be especially right in through here. So we're just spraying a little bit, and you can tell if it's working because as you go like that, you can feel it. It's a little bit sticky. All right, so then what I'm going to do next is take my curling iron, and I'm going to curl just the ends of her hair. So I'm just taking big sections, and I'm doing this rather quickly. And the reason is because the bottom of her hair is what I'm actually going to tuck into this updo that I already have. And so I don't need the bottom of her hair to have all that texture. I just need it to have a little bit of a bend in it so I can pin it into the updo that I've already created back here. It takes a lot of time to make a lot of texture all the way throughout, especially if they have really thick hair, and sometimes that's just not practical if you're on a time crunch, and sometimes it's not necessary. So this updo happens to be a little bit more defined in the back, and so I want to keep it that way. And what I mean by defined is I have some bigger curls in the back, and so if I add hair into it that has a lot of little curly texture, that won't look very consistent. So that's why I'm just going to do the ends, giving them a little bit of a bend with my 1.5 inch curling iron, which is what I used to do the back originally. All right, so now what I'm going to do is take my curling wand, and you can use a 1/2 inch, you can use a 1 inch, whatever kind of texture you want to have on the top. I'm using a little bit smaller than the rest because I want to have a little bit more lift. And what I'm going to do is start towards me, and I'm going to go through and just take sections near the front of her hair and hold it sort of away from you like this. So if you hold it like this, you're not going to get much volume. You want to really pull it the opposite way of yourself and get a good wrap around. And you don't even need to do it all the way down to the end. You can just do about 3 or 4 times. And you can see that I've already gotten a good piece there. And so what I'm going to do is go through and do it through this whole front section. And if you were doing this and you really wanted all of her hair to look like this, then you wanted to go all the way down to the end. But like I said, I'm just trying to get some texture in the top because I want it to look just soft and natural going back into the updo. And so I'm making sure to pull it away from her head, so I don't burn her, but also so I get more volume. And I'm just wrapping a couple times all the way through. And I'm just kind of tossing the hair away from the face. I'm doing that so it can be done quickly and easily, and I don't have to spend a lot of time sectioning and pinning each of these. I'm just gonna go through and do the whole top. And this will make for something that just looks really soft, it looks really easy, it doesn't look too harsh. So for someone who just wants a little bit, something different on the top, they don't want it to be smooth, but they don't want it to be too formal, this is a really nice option for that. She's looking a little bit like Michael Jackson. All right, so you can kind of get the gist. Just go through. This is also what I do if someone has really fine hair and I want to really boost it up in the front. This is a good way to get some good lift in the front, and even just to do something interesting on short hair if they just want something that is special and looks good for a new occasion, but they don't have a lot of hair to work with. This is a great way to give them something different than their norm. And whoops, okay. So I'm almost done here. I'm just going to do a little bit on the side. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to spray it with a little bit of texture texturizing spray and hairspray, because I want these pieces to kind of stick together a little bit. If I don't use any product in them, then by the end of the night, they might start to slip out. They might start to get a part in them. Like a lot of people who have really strong parts, their hair will just start to naturally part. So you want to use something to just kind of help keep it all together. I've really been liking Kenra's texture spray. It smells really good. It works really, really nicely, and it helps the hair have texture and stay together without actually being too like sticky or producty. So I really like that one. I actually went through like, I don't even know how many bottles this summer on weddings. So many bottles. I actually need to buy more. But I really recommend that one. You can even spray a little bit of the Puff Me. I would just recommend not doing it at the front because you don't want any bit of white to show up. All right. So once I've done this, I'm going to go through and kind of finger comb it back. So you'll use your fingers to create the texture that you want. Whether you want it to kind of go to this side, if you want it to kind of go to this side, you kind of got to figure out which way their hair is going to part, what's going to look really natural and beautiful. But using your fingers instead of a comb is going to get that really soft look. So our hair is looking like it kind of wants to go this way. So I'm going to let it. I'm going to spray it a little bit with my flexible hold hairspray. And you can see how I've got texture throughout, all the way like that. And as I gather it, that already reaches to the updo. So had I spent all that time going all the way down to the bottom, I wouldn't even be using that anyway. So you can see how it's starting to kind of go back the way that I want. So what I'm going to do from here then, is actually I'm going to gather it in 3 parts. I'm going to take this whole top section, I'm going to pull it together, and I'm going to pin it right at the base of the updo that I've already created, with just 1 or 2 pins depending on how thick the hair is. Her hair isn't too thick, so 2 pins will do. And I've done that little bit of a curl on the end, so all I'm going to do is take this curl that I've created and roll it and pin it into the updo that I've already created down here. So I'm rolling it under to hide the ends and hide the pin, putting that in like that. And then I have these 2 sections left, so with this top one, I'm just going to loosely bring it over. I'm going to give it a little bit of a twist. And I'm going to stick a pin in right here to make sure it stays over her ear. So I'll open it, put it towards her scalp, and then down into the updo that I've already created. And then I have these smooth ends that I've curled at the beginning. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did with this piece. I'm just going to roll this, and I'm going to pin it over on this side to kind of work into the rest of the updo that I already have. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to take this, I'm going to twist it, bring it over to the top, and I want to put a little pin in here. If she's got a lot of hair, I recommend putting more than 1. So you can just stick them in all the way across, go into the scalp and down. And that way these hairs sort of hide the top of the pin and you don't see little pin dots. And then with this last piece, all I'm going to do is find the spot that I want. So I'm going to roll it. And I think I'm going to go back this way a little bit. And I picked this spot because I could see that that's where I needed to fill in. So I'm always looking to find balance on my updos to make sure everything's even. So you can see how we've created some soft texture up here. It's nothing too harsh, it's just really nice soft waves. And I just pinned it into the updo that I already had in the back. And it was pretty quick and pretty simple, and she looks soft and beautiful. So that is my tip for doing some soft texture on the top. Thanks for joining me.